Gordon was excited. He had received great news from the Fat Controller. Gordon's brother, the Flying Scotsman, was coming to the island of Sodor to visit him. The other engines were excited too.
"To think we'll be sharing a shed with the world's most famous steam locomotive," exclaimed James. "I can't wait to ask him about his adventures."
"Scotsman won't be interested in talking to you," huffed Gordon. "He is an engine of the world and will likely only converse with me. It will be, after all, a family affair."
"Who says?"
"I do. I know my brother, he won't appreciate being fussed over by starstruck engines."
"Rubbish."
"You don't see Henry complaining."
"I couldn't care less."
"That's the spirit, Henry,"
Edward interjected. "I think Scotsman will enjoy talking to us all. He probably doesn't get the chance to be in the company of steam engines on the other railway anymore. Besides," added Toby, "he may get bored of you."
Gordon snorted. "He certainly won't have the time to talk with a pair of old relics. My brother is a locomotive of great distinction, explored the world, a holder of many records, and revered by all. What have you done that could possibly interest him?"
"I could ask you the same question," said Toby cheekily.
Everyone fell silent as Gordon fumed away.
When Flying Scotsman arrived, there was much noise and celebration. People flocked from all over the island just to see him. The Fat Controller welcomed him and his owner to the railway. Gordon was beside himself with joy. So too was Flying Scotsman. "Reunited once again," they cheered. For a few days, Gordon and Flying Scotsman were on display alongside one another. This gave the public the opportunity to photograph and inspect the two brothers together. "It's been 3 days now," scoffed James. "When are we going to get the chance to speak with Scotsman? Gordon is practically acting like his security." "Leave them to it," smiled Edward. "They are brothers after all, and this is a nice family reunion for them both." "Well, I've had enough. I can at least say hello." But Gordon wouldn't allow it. He hissed steam rudely at James and sent him back to the shed. James was very cross. Toby arrived and received the same treatment. He took no notice, though. But as he shunted his trucks, he noticed Flying Scotsman's face. It looked sad and forlorn. Toby looked around and saw they were surrounded by lots of people glaring at them. Gordon seemed to be enjoying the attention, but Flying Scotsman wasn't. Soon, the two engines were able to pull a selection of special trains. This made Flying Scotsman much happier. The other engines were pleased to have the chance to finally speak to him without Gordon. But now he was pulling non-stop trains. The opportunity never arose. "You're segregating him," huffed Toby.
"I most certainly am not," exclaimed Gordon.
"You are," interrupted James. "Your brother just wants to be treated like a regular working engine, not some moving museum piece."
"I agree. Scotsman is a national treasure, an international treasure. I just want him to be treated as such."
"But does he think so?" "Heavy is the head that wears the crown," put Toby earnestly.
Gordon pondered over what Toby and James had said. That afternoon, Flying Scotsman hurried along the main line with another of the special trains. All seemed to be going well, until he began to feel very hot. Toby had just brought Henrietta to the station yard when Flying Scotsman feebly hissed into view. He was red in the face and didn't have enough strength to pull his coaches up to the platform. There was much commotion around him. Toby watched quietly until the station master approached him. "Leave Henrietta here, please, Toby. Looks like you'll be needed on Thunderbird duties now." Toby looked at the train. "I don't know if I'm the right engine for the job, sir." "Don't worry, Toby. We're splitting the train. Edward is coming to rescue the passengers while you'll be escorting Scotsman to the big station." Toby was relieved. "I'm terribly sorry," sighed Scotsman. "My injectors failed. Or rather embarrassing when I'm carrying a second tender full of water and I can't utilize it." "No need to apologize. A failed injector could happen to any engine." Soon the rescue mission was underway. Edward arrived and took the special train onwards. Then, after Flying Scotsman's fire had been dropped, Toby proudly followed on behind. A great crowd of people had arrived at the big station to watch Toby bring the Flying Scotsman safely home. That night, Flying Scotsman sang Toby and Edward's praises. "Thank you for coming to my rescue," he smiled. "You were both wonderful." "Not bad for a pair of old relics," chuckled Toby to Edward. Gordon remained silent. When things go wrong, it can be, well, rather awkward and lonely. That's why it's marvellous to be on a railway amongst normal, genuine, hard-working engines. These things are treated so ordinarily, it doesn't feel an enormous imposition when I do break down. And not to be jeered or scorned at. Gordon spoke next. "I fear I may have made a misjudgment. I didn't realize that fame has its limitations, especially for those who behold it. I am grateful to be in such a privileged position, but I just want to be treated like a normal engine now." The other engines smiled. They talked and laughed with Flying Scotsman like old friends long into the night. It seems fame is a lovely commodity to have, but being surrounded by friends is even better.